Your Excellency, President Milatović, Mrs. Milatović, distinguished guests, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to Maqsut Narikbayev University. Mr. President, your visit takes place in a special year, as Kazakhstan and Montenegro celebrate the 20th anniversary of diplomatic relations. Over the past 2 decades, our countries have developed friendly and constructive ties based on mutual respect and cooperation. As a university, we also strive to contribute to strengthening relations between our nations. We were therefore particularly proud to learn that one of our graduates was recently appointed Consul of Kazakhstan to Montenegro. In this way, MNU has become a small part of the growing partnership between our two countries. Today's meeting is another example of the important role education plays in bringing people and nations closer together. Direct conversation with leaders such as yourself help students broaden their horizons, deepen their understanding of international affairs, and appreciate the value of dialogue in fostering mutual understanding among nations. We are especially grateful that despite your demanding schedule, you have taken the time to meet with our students today. Dear students, today you have a unique opportunity to engage directly with the head of state. I encourage you to make the most of this occasion and ask questions. Mr. President, I wish you an engaging and productive discussion with our students. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your Excellency, I do hope that our students also will strengthen the relations between our countries. And today we have students from different majors, the international relations, law, finance, economics, psychology, tourism, hospitality, and others. And they're happy to join today's lecture. So the floor is yours.
So it is indeed a great honor and a genuine privilege to address you today from this distinguished place and to speak about our two countries. Nations that, despite differences in geography and in size, are united by remarkably similar challenges, aspirations, and ambitions for the future. We share far more than common challenges. We share a tradition of hospitality deeply rooted in our cultures and our peoples, forged across the vast Kazakh steppes and the rugged landscapes of Montenegrin barren crust. And these enduring values have shaped generations, teaching us both resilience, solidarity, and respect for every guest and every individual. We're also connected by a shared chapter of our history. Both of our countries were among the last to leave the former socialist republics, the Soviet Union and Yugoslavia, demonstrating that the road to self-determination is rarely an easy one, but that the pursuit of freedom and the right to chart one's own destiny are causes worthy of every sacrifice. Our nations are open to people of all faiths and of all backgrounds, and this is another thing that we have in common. And we remain steadfast in our commitment to building inclusive, multicultural societies. At a time when division too often dominates the global stage, we stand united in the belief that diversity is a source of strength, a source of innovation, and a source of progress. We share a proud tradition of independence and the enduring struggle for liberty. It is reflected in the very name of your country and in the rich history of our freedom-loving peoples. Across our national instruments, Gusle from Montenegro and Dobra from Kazakhstan, these stories of courage and sacrifice have been passed down through generations, reminding us that freedom is never merely inherited. It is earned, safeguarded, and entrusted to those who come after us. Yet beyond all these similarities, our generations have also shared the fate of living in complex geopolitical regions, at the crossroads of civilizations, where the interests of great powers have met, have competed, and have often collided. And some of the most consequential geopolitical questions of the 19th century revolved precisely around the regions of the Balkans, where Montenegro is in, and Central Asia, the region of Kazakhstan, embodied in what history remembers as the Eastern Question and the Great Game. And these were defining struggles that helped shape the international order of that time. The Eastern Question concerned the division of territories in the Balkans during the twilight of the Ottoman Empire. The great powers of that era, Russia and Austria, carved out spheres of influence across the Balkans as they anticipated the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. So amid this uncertainty and turbulence, Montenegro succeeded in securing its independence, proving that even in periods of profound geopolitical upheaval, the determination of people can prevail over the designs of empires. The Great Game, on the other hand, represented the strategic contest for influence between the United Kingdom and Russia, here in Central Asia. Not far from where we gather today, it was a struggle that demonstrated how regions positioned at the intersection of continents, trade routes, and civilizations inevitably become central to global affairs. And neither Montenegro nor Kazakhstan stood at the center of these great geopolitical transformations of the 19th century. Today, however, the story is different. Our countries are no longer on the margins of geopolitical change. They are active participants in it. Montenegro stands today as the most advanced country for membership in the European Union and the role model for all the other Balkan countries that aspire to join the European Union. Our goal is very clear: to become the 28th member state of the EU by 2028, thus demonstrating that the enlargement policy of the European Union is alive, is credible, and that it still has transformative force. Our accession would represent more than a national achievement. It will help restore the momentum and strengthen the credibility of the European Union itself, thus showing that commitments are honored, that reforms are rewarded, and that Europe remains capable of shaping the destiny of its own continent. At the same time, the membership of Montenegro in the European Union would create new opportunities for deeper and more dynamic cooperation also between Montenegro and Kazakhstan, given the fact that the EU is a key economic partner of this country. It would open the door to stronger partnerships in trade, in energy, innovation, connectivity, and sustainable development. areas that will define economic competitiveness and prosperity in the decades to come. Dear friends, Montenegro may not be a country large enough to shape major geopolitical transformations through sheer economic or military power, but it has repeatedly demonstrated that influence, and please remember this, influence is not measured by size alone. It is measured by the strength of desire, the consistency of principles, and the power of example. Yet, in a world where power politics is once again gaining prominence, no responsible state can afford to overlook its material capabilities as well. And this is why Montenegro has established itself as a credible and reliable member of the NATO alliance, actively contributing to the stability, security, and resilience of the Balkans and of the wider Southeast Europe. For us, both the EU and NATO represent fundamental pillars of our foreign policy, providing strategic direction, long-term certainty, and a firm anchor in a region that has always been geopolitically complex and strategically important, like the region of the Balkans. Kazakhstan, for its part, has emerged as the leading political and economic power in Central Asia. Through its balanced and sophisticated multi-vector foreign policy, it has established itself as a pillar of regional stability and a partner whose voice commands attention in every major capital. In an era of profound geopolitical realignment, Kazakhstan is increasingly becoming a decisive force, a true balancing power in the evolving global distribution of influence. Kazakhstan, dear friends, serves as an inspiration also to Montenegro through its commitment to the principles and mission of the United Nations. And this mission indeed is what is the third pillar of our own foreign policy, apart from the commitment towards our future into the EU and a credible NATO membership. Being an active participant of the multilateral platform, predominantly the UN is an important part of our foreign policy. So our countries share a common conviction that a stable and prosperous international order must rest on multilateralism, on international cooperation, respect for international law, and the peaceful resolution of disputes. We believe that the challenges of the 21st century cannot be solved by any nation acting alone. Whether we are addressing climate change, technological disruption, food or energy security, or the risks associated with nuclear proliferation, meaningful solutions require collective action and strong international system. And at the same time, we are equally aware that the global system must evolve to meet new realities. We need to reform the United Nations. In a world where rules are increasingly give way to rulers, the reform of the United Nations system is no longer merely desirable, it is essential for a better future of our world. If we are to respond effectively to the defining challenges humanity is facing today, our international institutions, predominantly the United Nations, must become more representative, more effective, and better equipped to preserve peace, to foster cooperation among the nations, and uphold the principles upon which global stability depends. Dear friends, at the end, after centuries of endurance, resistance, and survival, amid some of the most challenging geopolitical circumstances, our countries succeeded. We defied Napoleon's famous assertion that geography is destiny, and secured independent, sovereign, and free states. Yet, in the 21st century, this alone is not enough. A state is merely an empty shell if its citizens do not live with dignity, if they lack access to quality education, meaningful and well-paid employment, a clean environment, and confidence in a better future. So today's international order is marked by growing fragmentation, the weakening of multilateralism, and the return, unfortunately, of power politics. In many ways, the world is entering a new great game. But this time, let our countries be among its players. Let us not merely adapt to the changes around us, but help shape them. Together, let us build a world that is more just, more prosperous, and more secure for the benefit of all. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your thoughtful speech that you shared with our student. I think that now we may proceed to the interactive part, and our students have a unique chance to ask questions from the President. So, any volunteers? Okay, so let's start from the left wing. So, lady, yes, on the third row. Yes, you please.
Welcome to Kazakhstan, Mr. President. My name is Aisha Kurliutova, and I am third-year student of International Law program here in Maqsut Narikbayev University. And my question is, Montenegro has long aspired to join European Union, and Mr. President, you emphasized the ambition to Montenegro's to join the European Union by 2028. And what are the key benefits and risks of this path towards the European integration?
So thank you for the question. So, in my opinion, the idea of European Union is by far the best possible idea in Europe after the World War II. It's an idea of peace and cooperation between the European nations. And also the only way, in my opinion, that Europe can preserve its international role and its economic competitiveness among the other great powers of the world. When you look at the map of Europe, there is now an empty space, literally in the middle, which is the Western Balkans. Unfortunately, the reason for that, many of the things that happened in the past, including very unfortunate wars in the former Yugoslavia. So ever since Montenegro has regained its independence in 2006, and this year we are celebrating 20 years since we have regained our independence, the country has embarked on a very clear path towards the membership into the EU. And that's not an easy part, because a country needs to adopt literally all the laws that are part of the common EU acquis. That's the legal ground of the European Union. Also to change some of its own institutions, even sometimes to change its own constitution. And that's the road that we have formally started back in 2012. That's the road that we have been taking now for almost 15 years. But it's a road which I always say, also when I speak to the Montenegrin public, it's a God-given road for Montenegro, because it's a clear roadmap how to become a better society. And finally, we have come to the final stage of that road. So Montenegro, out of all the candidate countries, and there are currently 10, that are trying to join the European Union, is by far the most advanced. There are few reasons why we are the most advanced. Number one, we are fully aligning our foreign policy with the foreign policy of the EU. So whatever 27 member states agree among themselves and present as the common foreign policy of the EU, Montenegro takes on board, thus showing the commitment to the common foreign and security policy of the European Union. And you can imagine how important that is, given all the geopolitical challenges that are happening today. Secondly, our currency is euro. Montenegro is already using the euro for a long period of time. And as such, we are also very much focusing on all those economic criteria that are important to be in check for all the countries of the Eurozone. We are also economically the most advanced among all the countries that are trying to enter the club, with the standard of living at par even with some of the countries that are already in the EU, like the Baltic states, Romania, Bulgaria, Slovakia, etc. Also, Montenegro is a member of NATO since 2017. And the fact is that every country from Central and Eastern Europe, so from the former socialist Europe, which joined the EU, they first joined NATO. And Montenegro already has done that. Also, Montenegro institutionally is the most advanced. On this road, as I mentioned, there's so many laws that the country needs to basically adopt. All those laws are basically divided in 33 different chapters that every candidate country which is trying to become the part of the EU needs to negotiate with the EU. It basically, it's a lot of difficult work. So every candidate country opens a chapter and then, does many, difficult reforms in order to close a particular chapter. Montenegro so far is the only candidate country that has opened all the chapters, and we have been able to close half of them. The aim is to close all the chapters by the end of this year, and then after that, all 27 member states in their parliaments need to ratify the accession of Montenegro into the EU, as well as the Parliament of the European Union. So there is also a lot of lobbying from the side of Montenegro that we need to make sure that this work from the side of the member states is also done within a certain period of time. So we are very much now confident that we can complete all this work by 2028 and thus become the 28th member state of the EU by 2028. And that's a big part of my job as well.
Thank you, Mr. President. So anyone else, dear students? Oh, so yes, the lady, okay, from the last row.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Shanar Baiton, and I'm a second-year student of International Law Program. Recently, during your address to the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, you have called for strengthening the UN through UN 80 initiative. And my question is, if you could implement one concrete reform tomorrow to make the organization more effective, what would it be and why?
It's a great question. I think that what currently is happening is we basically have a Security Council as one of the key bodies of the United Nations, which is basically more or less blocked in its work, given the different approaches of the 5 permanent member states of the Security Council. You all know what are the permanent members of the Security Council. Those are United Kingdom, France, America, China, and Russia. And it's clear that according to many nations in the world, that the Security Council also needs to be reformed in order to better reflect the sort of the state of the play in the world now. So I think, in my opinion, that reforming the Security Council, allowing more permanent members, as well as distributing the power within the Security Council in order to resemble a bit better the state of the play currently in the world, is something that, in my opinion, is urgent, so that the Security Council can actually become a more efficient institution representing or discussing about some of the most pressing issues in the world. And so if there is one thing that I would pick, I would pick that one. It's probably the most difficult one as well. So it's easier said than done. So in order for the reform of the Security Council itself needs to agree on that. And giving up on power is very often the most difficult task in the international order.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, yes, for your openness and your response. Anyone else? Okay, so let's try from that side. So the gentleman on the second row. Yep.
Good morning, dear Mr. President. My name is Askhaq Yarasal. I am a second-year student of International Relations program. Once more, I'd like to thank you for coming to our university. So my question is that recently, brain drain and active youth immigration have become a massive problem for a lot of countries across the globe. And Kazakhstan and Montenegro are no exceptions for this. So previously, in your interviews, you have stated that party-based employment and lack of meritocracy are one of the key factors why young and educated people leave Montenegro. On top of that, you've also stated that between 2 censuses, almost 100,000 people already left Montenegro, which is as nearly as every 6th person in Montenegro. So, dear Mr. President, in your opinion, what political and legislative reforms or economical incentives are most crucial in resolving this issue? Thank you.
I think it's a great question, and it's a question very dear to my heart. So there is another part of the sentence I remember when I said it. Between the 2 census periods of Montenegro, I think that about 100,000 people left, but we gained about 100,000 different people, especially actually coming from Ukraine, from Russia, from Turkey, and from the countries of the former Yugoslavia, including Serbia, Bosnia, and etc. So in that regard, in terms of the size of our population, it more or less stayed the same, and actually it even grew a bit. But definitely there was a change in its structure. I mean, the flow of people is nothing new. especially in the European continent. Many of them did not really go that far away. Many of them, went for some better economic opportunities that found in Germany or in Austria or in France, and all those destinations are 1 or 2 hours away by plane. So that's something that will also become an internal question once Montenegro joins the EU, because of the openness of the labor market that we will also enjoy as part of the club. But in the long-term perspective, there are two solutions to that problem, and you have rightly mentioned them. More meritocracy, especially when it comes to the access of the labor market related to government jobs and state-owned enterprises. That's number one. And number two is more economic opportunities in the private sector. Basically, speedier economic convergence with the countries where usually the labor flows out. And this is where I think Montenegro, has been doing a relatively good job, although, we can always do even a better job. So on average, after the COVID, the economy has been growing, at the rate of 6 to 7%, although now we have sort of slowed down in terms of our economic growth, again back to 3 to 4%, which is not enough for a speedier economic convergence. And this is why I have recently said that we definitely need to think, and this is something that my team is also working on, a new economic model for the country, the one which would basically use the momentum of our own accession into the EU in order to, do something more efficient about the problem that you have mentioned.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, anyone else, guys? Okay. So that lady from the last row, I think that will be fair enough.
Hello, Mr. President. My name is Жылғы Сәрсенбай, and I'm the first year student of Maqsut Narikbayev University. At 36, you became one of the youngest presidents of Europe. So was your youth more of an obstacle or an advantage for you? And what would you say to people who think that they are too young to lead countries or create changes?
I think that recently I hosted the President Macron in Montenegro. It was the first bilateral visit of the French president to Montenegro, and I think that Macron was also relatively young when he became the president of the French Republic, right? He was 35, 6. So I think that entering politics and becoming the president or the prime minister at a relatively young age has definitely its advantages. First of all, being young obviously gives you energy to be persistent about changing things. One thing that I have learned so far in my relatively modest political life is in order to succeed in anything in life, you need to be persistent about it. That's it. So if there is one thing that you should remember from this address, never give up. Be persistent about sorting out and solving the problems. And being the prime minister or being the president is about changing things, hopefully for the better, right? So I think that the biggest advantage is energy that you are bringing. The biggest disadvantage is obviously the lack of life experience. Sometimes perhaps you see things a bit differently. if you are, a bit older. But I think now with digital age and with everything which is happening in the world, I would really, think that being young is more of an advantage than not being young, when you are at this kind of a position. So, and by the way, I do want to tell you the story. It's a bit of a personal one, how I ended up here. So at relatively young age, I left Montenegro. So I lived for a number of years abroad. First as a student. So I studied in Italy, in Austria, in America. I did my master's in England at University of Oxford, and then I worked a lot in different countries, in Germany, in England, in Romania. So I really gained professional experience as well. I was an economist for the longest period, working for the European Bank for Construction and Development. It's a great institution which is basically promoting reforms and helping the countries really to get to where they want to be in many different areas. And I remember the COVID hit, and the bank has sent us all to work from home. And my wife and I, we were, back in Montenegro, and the parliamentary elections happened in August 2020. So the prime minister designated, he was a mechanical engineer, a university professor, did not really have an experience or knowledge about economy and economic development, and he asked me to be his economic minister. So I was in charge of economic development. And I remember, the discussion that we had. I was 34, yeah, and still working for the bank. Approached by the prime minister to be, asking me whether I want to be an economy minister. It was a bit of a shock, for me. And the economy was really in crisis. We are a tourism-dependent country. You can imagine, that tourism collapsed during the COVID time, and a number of structural differences in the economy that needed to be sorted out. So a hell of a job. And then I said, look, I need to think about this. So I spoke then with my colleagues at the bank. I spoke obviously with my family, and have decided that it is the time to give back to the community, to give back to the country from where I come from, through the knowledge and professional experience I have gained by that moment. And this is how I ended up in the government, being the minister. And then, everything else after that, had its own political part, which led me to the position now of the president. The point is, you are now in your early 20s. This question that I was asked by the prime minister will come to you as well. And it will come sooner than you may think. So be ready for it.
Thank you. Thank you for such an inspiring, I think, remarks. And we have time for a couple of questions. So,
hello, Mr. President. My name is Varvara Kruglikova. I'm studying international journalism here at Maqsut Narikbayev University. And as a student, I'm deeply interested in diplomacy between younger generations. So I wanted to ask you if you see any possible opportunities for launching any exchange programs or research initiatives between Montenegrin and Kazakhstani universities in the future, especially in economics, media, or international relations.
I mean, the minister is here in charge of education and science, and I basically invite him, to get in touch with our own minister, and I think this is a great idea that we should implement together, minister. I think this is really sort of a part of people-to-people exchange. In the forthcoming period, we will be signing the bilateral treaty on economic cooperation that will be creating an economic commission between our two countries. We will be signing the treaty between our departments in charge of digital transformation. We will be signing a treaty between departments in charge of justice cooperation, and I think this can be a fourth one. So thanks for the initiative and thanks for the idea.
And thank you for your answer.
Thank you. So we have also questions, I think, here. Yes, you.
Добар дан, Mr. President. My name is Sandebek Altair. I'm a second-year international student and working at the Embassy of Republic of Cyprus in Astana. So my question is, because you're a great economist, so how do you think the European Union accession requires a significant giving up on the fiscal and the monetary control? And how the situation gives the Montenegro challenges and the opportunities, and how they will deal with that? Thank you very much.
I mean, everything in life, as well as every economic measure, is not black or white. Things have their positive sides as well as their negative sides. And the good policymaker takes a decision which, on average, has more positive sides than the negative sides, right? That's the rationality behind the policy making. So when it comes to the EU accession, the positive sides for Montenegro are by far bigger than some of the negative sides, including giving up on your fully independent monetary or fiscal policy. What are the positive sides? The positive sides are becoming part of probably the most prestigious club of the countries in the world, which are entirely based on peace, cooperation, rule of law, and independent institutions. Secondly, and this is a signal, it's a huge signal that Montenegro will be sending to the rest of the world about our own democratic maturity and economic stability. Because, as I have explained to your colleague, this is a tough process. A country needs to do so much, in order to join the club. And once we join, that's a massive signal to the rest of the world of our own state of development. Secondly, I think that once we get in, Montenegro will also be benefiting out of the so-called structural funds that are provided by the EU in order to finance our own infrastructure, which at that time becomes the infrastructure of the European Union. What does that mean? That basically means cheaper financing of our highways, energy connection, municipal infrastructure, and so on and so forth. And that's crucial for the long-term development and our own productivity catch up with the rest of the EU. And the third point, this is also part of the bloc which has its own security umbrella. The EU is now more and more thinking about the ways of developing its own security umbrella and not relying that much on some other countries. I do want to complete with a bit of a digression here. Think of Europe after the World War II and the European business model. It depended on two things: cheap Russian gas and cheap American security. Now both are gone. So Europe is also in a phase of rethinking its own business model. And I think, in order to become less dependent and more resilient, and this is the concept which is now, especially by the President Macron, being promoted as the concept of the strategic autonomy of the EU. And this is where Montenegro will also obviously be taking part in. Thank you.
Thank you for the answer.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so I can see the students from the third row. Yes, you please.
Good day, Mr. President, and thank you for sharing today. My name is Wu Junling, a law school student from Lanzhou University in China. And I come here for attending the MNU school summer school program. And I would like to ask a question that, as we all know, climate change is a global challenge. Climate change is a global challenge. So what do you think young people from different countries can do together to make meaningful difference? Thank you.
I mean, first of all, I'm happy to see obviously the foreign students here at this university in Kazakhstan. I think that this exchange between the students is a great way for you also to learn from each other. So well done for deciding to be an exchange student. I was an exchange student for a bit in China as well, at Beijing University. I remember it was 2014, I think, and I was taking the course on the role of China in the new economic world order. We obviously all need to think about that and the role of China, which is absolutely a massive in terms of our everyday life. What I do want to say regarding your question, I think that just the way that you have asked this question really shows the awareness of the question. And, you as a young person are showing the awareness of this issue. And I think, this is the crucial part of the change. There are three things that this is another sort of thing that I want you to remember from this lecture. There are three crucial things for a policymaker to have in order to deliver on change. Number one is a political will. You need to want to have a change. Otherwise, the change will not happen, right? It's not really that the change happens when somebody doesn't want the change to happen. So willingness for change is a crucial ingredient. And this is what you have shown already in your question. Second ingredient is a capacity to change. You need to get together with a sizable amount of other decision makers who are also promoting the same change in order to deliver the change. So that's what I call capacity. And the third thing is know-how. You need to know how to change, how to deliver the change. That's the expertise. And the change ultimately happens only when all three ingredients are implemented together. If only one is missing, the change is not possible. This is why it's so difficult to change, because you need those three ingredients at the same time. And this is the answer to your question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your openness. And now, may I invite to join us Mrs. Milena Milatović? Yes, and our students would like to give, to make a traditional gift to join MNU community. It is our welcome box that every member of MNU community have with a sweet shot with logo of our university.